नमस्ते आप सभी को. Today I welcome you all to the very first edition of the Satya School podcast. Today is the World Mental Health Awareness Day, and we could not have had a better guest to kick off this series. I have with me Dr. Ashish Sehgal. Sir is a very well-renowned life coach, and he has already had a counseling session on mindset management with some of our students. So I welcome you to our podcast.
Thank you so much. So, I believe you have some questions, so let's start right away.
Right, definitely, sir. So, my first question to you is that in life, often we have a lot of expectations from ourselves. Some that we set ourselves, some that others keep for us. When we do not end up meeting them, how do you suggest we manage that? How do we deal with that?
Okay, so this is a very important aspect, expectation management. First of all, if we look at all the expectations, it is important to think and sort them. We can sort expectations as in, are these really important for me, my goals, and my purpose in life? Is this expectation aligned to what I want or not? So, if the expectations are not aligned to your goal or purpose, you better leave them. Uh, Choose only those expectations that are aligned to your goals and purpose. And your job is not to make people happy. Your job is to build your life. As a student, have expectations that are realistic because realistic expectations are really important. So have realistic expectations, drop the expectations that are not aligned to your goals and to your purpose. And third thing, whether expectations come to be true or not, remember there's no failure, only feedback. Our job is not to fulfill all expectations. Expectations are a guide. They are like the fuel that take us ahead. But fulfillment is not a goal. Our life will take a wonderful path anyways, whether we have expectations or not. So just use them as your guides. That's all.
Thank you, sir, for answering my first question. I have another for you, sir. Uh, we always feel a lot of emotions in our lives.
Yes.
One of the most difficult emotions to process is guilt. I think you would agree with that, sir.
Yes.
So many times, like we had in the counseling session and before as well, you mentioned that there has to be an on-off switch where we feel certain emotions and then we stop feeling them on our control.
Correct.
An emotion like guilt, sir, do you feel it is always healthy not to feel that emotion?
Well, so guilt is a complex emotion. And also, when you look at all the emotions, guilt is also called a wasted emotion. It doesn't have too much of it. Yes, if we take feedback, then it's great. But otherwise, let us understand what is guilt. Guilt has four on off switches, not one. It's a complex situation. Guilt arises from idealism. Idealism is the root of the tree where you get guilt. The more idealism you get trapped into, the more guilt you're going to feel. Let's understand. Whenever you feel guilty, ask yourself after taking the feedback, after I've absorbed the feedback, is there any use of this guilt? Second, after taking the feedback, what idealism am I trapped into at this point of time? Let's say there is a guilt of maybe not performing in the exams. So, first thing is you take feedback from it. That's fine. Next time I'm going to study hard, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to take help, and I'm going to do it. After that, there is something called residual guilt. And this residual guilt, ask yourself, what idealism am I trapped into? Is it about, people feeling bad about it? Is it about uh, others' expectations or whatever? So these idealism is just not worth it. It's important to walk on your path. So I hope that solves you.
Definitely, sir. Thank you for answering my question.
So, sir, in social settings like schools, I have noticed that children tend to give each other labels such as you're too quiet or maybe you're a loner. So, in these scenarios, people tend to get upset and offended. So, what do you think we as students should do to combat these labels and retain our own identities?
So because we want to retain our own identities, which means we value our own identities, it is important to define our identities ourselves and not really leave it to others. So, when others give us labels, it is merely their opinion. It may not have any sustainable or real benefit to it. So, let's say if somebody calls somebody loner, it is according to them. So, the question we ask ourselves after any label is according to whom? Now, if it is according to us, then we take feedback. Otherwise, it's just an opinion because the whole idea of labels is a shortcut. And people use these shortcuts to express themselves, which means that everything what they're saying is not a complete picture. Let's say somebody calls somebody a loner, which is, if we ask ourselves according to whom, it is according to this person. Maybe this person enjoys being alone. Enjoying oneself alone is an art which very few people learn. Maybe the person who's giving an opinion does not enjoy it. So it is according to that person's mindset. We may or may not take it. Our identity is secure within ourselves.
Okay, thank you for that, sir.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. My question to you is, with academic pressure, peer pressure, and personal growth all happening simultaneously, how can students develop a sense of balance and emotional resilience?
Yes. So if we want to develop a sense of balance, it is important to go back to our childhood. Remember when you were a little child trying to crawl and you saw everybody walking with balance. You started maybe holding a chair and started to stand up. Then you might have fallen and then stood up again. Now, when you walk with balance. So, balance is a matter of practice. How do we balance it? There are two things here. One, the balance is between what we feel inside versus what outside information we are getting. So, the more you value inner information and the less you value outer information, if it is not useful for you, that's how we create balance. Coming to emotional resilience, resilience is important because resilience is strength. Resilience is the biggest strength you can have. Emotions make you smarter also. So, building the ability to choose your emotions helps you become resilient.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering my question. You have inspired me a lot.
Thank you so much.
So, sir, my question to you is about leadership development. So, leadership development is not just for adults. So, how do you think learning leadership skills can positively impact the students as well as on their emotional well being?
Okay. So, leadership is a set of skills very important for all of us. In many situations, we are both leaders and followers at the same time. It is important to understand the biggest skill of a leader is to love people. We can lead by love. It, in the olden days, a authoritative leadership was welcome, but now it is leading by walking together. When children learn this, when school students learn these leadership skills, and then they later move into life, they will not be as authoritative but as real leaders who can take everybody together and make everybody win. And when it comes to emotional resilience, yes, leaders can help people become emotionally resilient if they are resilient themselves. So it is important for each one of us to develop emotional intelligence, emotional smartness, so that we never let anybody hurt us and we never hurt anybody else. That's the kind of leadership that we are going to go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for joining us today here and for starting something that is very, very special for our school and especially for the Student Council. Thank you, sir, for being here with us, for answering all our questions and taking a special counseling session for our senior students as well. And thank you to all of you who have joined and tuned in and listened to this very first edition of the Satya School podcast. There is a lot more to come. Thank you.
Dr. Sehgal, thank you very much. I don't have words. but the kind of insight that you have shared with the students has been truly inspirational. And I think they will go back home and they have some strategies in their toolbox to deal with these emotions which can at times take over our lives. I think as the teachers and the staff also, we felt empowered that emotions don't rule us. A lot of it is our own choice. It's been a privilege to host you at Satya School, and looking forward to inviting you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I think the journey is going to continue from here and everybody is going to rise together. Thank you.